Well, hello there. Welcome. I was just fixing myself a nice cup of Joe. So, this is Mr. Byers, and this is 12th grade multicultural literature. I will try to keep this meeting brief, but unlike levity, brevity is not one of my strong suits. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay. I'm going to show you a nice little PowerPoint that I have set up for you. Let's see. All right. So here we go. Curriculum night, even though it's not really the night, it's 8:45 in the morning. But you could be watching this at night. So let's just imagine it's fall. It's fall semester. It's nice outside. We're using our imagination, of course. And it's curriculum night. And here you get to learn all about your kids' class. I'm Mr. Byers. I've been teaching for 16 years, and also I've been teaching college for 15 years. Not 15 of those 16 years. I've been teaching high school for 16, and then I've been teaching college at the same time as an adjunct because, in education, we are, what's that word? Poor. So we need a couple of jobs. Okay. So, which it's actually been great. I've been teaching at Gwinnett Tech for a couple of years, and it's real helpful because I talk to the seniors all about college expectations and the things that we are actually looking for in college students. So I think it's real useful. I think the kids, some of the kids find it valuable. What I have to say, and others do not. Okay, this class, this is multicultural literature and writing. This is essentially what the county says about it. This course focuses on developing a social justice intelligence and a call to action in students through the study of world literature and informational texts written by and about people of diverse ethnic, gender, sexual, ability, and economic backgrounds. Students explore themes of linguistic and cultural diversity by comparing, contrasting, analyzing, and critiquing writing styles and universal themes. The students write argumentative, expository, narrative, analytical, and reader response essays. Okay. So this class is essentially a multidiscipline course that combines all of the following. English, yes. History, totally. Psychology, oh yeah, deep right here. Sociology, philosophy, political science, and art, as we'll see later on. Now, it's important to remember, listen, this is for you parents. Understand this. This is an optional course. This class is like an elective that replaces senior British literature. If your child is here, they signed up for the course. Okay. And then, like for my class, you had to sign a syllabus. The kids are supposed to have brought home a syllabus for you to sign off saying you acknowledge that. If the students did not do anything last year for registration, they were automatically placed in British literature, or they picked British literature. If they are here, it's because they proactively picked the class. Standards. So for the most part, the standards are all skill-based. There is no facts to be memorized. There's no district exam or state exam or national exam. There's nothing except for me, whatever I make. And so also the standards are essentially this 90% of all of our standards every year are the same standards. They maybe little things change, like American literature has a few little standards that are specific to American lit. British lit has a few standards that are specific to British literature, but the majority of the standards from ninth grade through 12th grade are the same. The expectations change. Kids should be reading more difficult texts. They should be writing in a more complex way, and their ability to master longer and more complex literature should increase. But for the most part, the standards are the same. with the exception, though, these are some standards that are unique to multicultural literature, which is why this class is an optional course. So I just want to be clear that these are some of the things that we'll be discussing in this class that the county has placed in our standards that the students have chosen to do. So 9B and C, read, comprehend, and analyze literature, informational text, okay, that are written by and or are inclusive of characters of different races, ethnicities, religions, genders, sexual orientations, disabilities, and languages. And we will draw inferences and conclusions from a range of texts representing diverse topics and authors. Determine the effects of the cultural environment on or in the text. Cultural environment, a lot of things go into that. The political environment of that time, the overall way that people are kind of thinking or seeing, the values of the time. So those are all important. Analyze the effect of certain words and phrases in contemporary conversations on race, ethnicity, sexual identity, and pop culture. So we will be talking, about Black Lives Matter. We'll be talking about different ethnic groups and celebrations. We will be talking about sexuality and things that deal with the LGBTQIA plus community and how things are happening today in pop culture, popular writers, contemporary writers. How do contemporary writers who write in a very informal way and sometimes a very open way address these issues? These are all things that are covered in the standards for this course. Determine the personal, political, societal, and philosophical influences on authors that impacted how they structured their arguments. So we will be talking about politics and society. Okay. For some reason, people sometimes have a problem talking about politics in a class. So, but again, though, this class is all conversationally based. There is no ideology. The kids won't be tested on having a specific opinion. They do not have to sign a confirmation of indoctrination or anything like that. Kids are open to have their opinion. We're just going to be talking about the different ways of the way that different people identify themselves as, the way that they live their lives. So, delineate and evaluate the reasoning in seminal U.S. texts, including the application of constitutional principles and use of legal reasoning. So, we might have discussions about the Constitution. We'll have discussions about the founding fathers. We can talk about all these kind of things, and we might not. It just depends if it pops up. But it is covered in the standards. So again, I emphasize all of this so parents are very clear about what it is that we talk about in this course. So that way there is no, I didn't know. What? This is crazy. So if your kid is here, they chose it, and you have the right to pull them out, but you need to do it beforehand. And by this point, it's kind of like they should have gave you the syllabus with all these standards posted on the syllabus. I just copy and pasted this from the syllabus to this PowerPoint. So everyone watching this, technically, you should have already known all this by now. But if it's new to you and this is problematic for you, contact the school. Okay. So the units we're going to cover, which we've already done this semester. We've started, this month, college preparation. Now we're moving into identity. October, November, we're going to talk about representation in film and media. I'm trying to get some. Well, that's if some of these films that are clips and stuff that I want to be able to show get approved. So we'll see about that. But there will be some films that have already been approved, like Malcolm X and this film called this documentary called Transformer. We're going to focus on a term paper in November, December. This is going to be college style. So I will be exposing them to the type of writing that they'll be expected to produce in 1101 and 1102, English 1101, English 1102. So we'll be doing that all in class. Then we'll be talking about some legal and cultural battles. Of course, we'll talk about like Roe versus Wade and affirmative action and those types of issues that have been happening recently, because it goes back to our current pop culture and political societal events are happening, discussed in the standards. So we'll be looking at different perspectives on these ideas. Again, I won't be teaching one perspective. We'll be looking at different perspectives and then talking about them, writing about them, analyzing them, breaking them down, bringing them down. March and April, we're going to look at art, still art. The idea for October and November is film, so it's like moving art. And then March and April will be like paintings, maybe sculptures, installations, those types of things. We're gonna watch a really cool documentary. I think it's called like Illumination, but it's about this really awesome artist named Wallace, and it's great. Then we'll bring in the whole social activism part in April, May, where we'll do this campaign. We'll talk about activism, how people get involved, how people have these ideas, and then how do they get them implemented in society. And then the students will do a project on a campaign that they feel is important. Okay, so it'll be great. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great. And then also all this might change. Who knows? Because again, we don't have a state test. So things can always be changed if some things don't stick with the kids. Some groups are just like totally not interested in what we're doing. So I don't like having uninterested kids. So we'll pivot like Ross, and we'll turn the corner and we'll try something different. So it really does also is determined by the students. How engaged are the students? My goal is for your senior to not be hating their life while they're in my class. So if we can create a cool environment where people are engaged and they like what we're doing for the most part. I mean, I have a daughter who's a teenager. I get it. Apathy is a constant. It's like eating, breathing, and then just being apathetic. But if we can find just a slight escape from the apathy, find something that is somewhat interesting, then I like to take us there because that's the goal. I don't want the students to develop a hatred for reading and literature and feel as if they're always being forced to read crap that they don't like. So these are the standards. I'm sorry, these are my units, but we might shift depending on the audience. Sample assignment. Pretty much all my assignments are going to be the same. I haven't really gotten into this yet this month because we've been doing nothing but college stuff. But starting now that this week, we're going to be starting actual literature. Most of the assignments are like this. They're free response. The students need to write. They understand how much they need to write in order to get at least considered this type of graded response. So we will be reading something, and then I will give them a prompt that is based on what we've been reading. For example, this says, reflecting on the discussion about microaggressions and cognitive bias, which we're going to start talking about this week. Discuss the microaggressions Jen and Wei Chen's teachers commit and how it shows their cognitive biases. So the students should think about that, and they should write. And if they start here and they write really good stuff, that's actually on topic, answering the question using some evidence, and they get all the way down to here, then they have the ability to make an A for that response. If the ideas and the logic and the explanation are good. If they start here, and let's say they're writing good stuff, but they stop here, then the highest grade they'll get is a C, even if what they wrote is correct, but they stopped there. So this kind of pushes them because they're seniors, so they should be writing more, thinking more, analyzing more, especially if they're planning on going to college next year. Okay. So it helps them, they're in control of the type of grade they want to work towards. Okay. I essentially have this philosophy that every single person can pass my class if they turn in their work. But not every single kid is going to make an A just for turning in work. They got to earn the A, you got to earn the B, you got to earn the C. And if you at least turn in all the work, you will at least pass. Okay. But if you really want to like earn your grade, you need to work harder. Grade scheme, classwork 35%. This has been the same since ninth grade. None of this should be shocking for anybody watching this. Performance final. Okay. All right. So vocabulary. Every Monday and Friday are vocabulary days. We begin a new unit on Mondays. Every other Monday, really. So like this past Monday when I'm recording this, the students got some new words, and then they will make flashcards and they'll try to learn those words, and they'll study the definitions outside of class, and then we'll do a practice quiz where they see how well they know the words. And the practice quiz looks just like the actual vocabulary quiz. It's just different sentences. It's fill in the blank. And then we'll check that in class. And then the second Friday, after they've received their vocabulary words, they will be given a actual quiz where they will have to fill in the blank with complete the sentence with the appropriate vocabulary word that completes it. And we're using a program that the county bought. Allegedly, it's supposed to get harder from week to week. Unit 1 is supposed to be easier than Unit 2, and Unit 3 is supposed to be harder than Unit 2, and so forth. Doesn't always play out. Sometimes the students week 2 might be easier than week 1. You might see an influx. You might see that your kid makes a 100 on the Unit 3 quiz, and then a 100 and then maybe the next week they make a 70, but then the next quiz they make a 90. It really just depends on the words. Sometimes the kids are already familiar with the words. Sometimes these are brand new. Hopefully, they're not always seeing 10 new words that they have no exposure to, but who knows, maybe they do. But this vocabulary activity is good because it takes in both learning vocabulary and then also context clues. They are learning definitions of these words, but then they're having to use the words in the sentences. So it's kind of an all-around effective method of increasing one's reading ability. Okay. All right. If we'll take the quiz on a Friday, if they miss it on a Friday and they get a 0, then they can make it on Monday. If they are also miss it on a Monday, then it's a 0 until 8 weeks in, and then I'll do a retake time. Okay. So the kids are really to try to be here on Mondays and Fridays in order to make sure that they can take these quizzes, or at least make up the quiz. So essentially, I'm gonna wrap this up soon. Oh my God, I told you, brevity, not a strength. But here we go. Just so you know, just so you know what happens on Mondays and Fridays are pretty independent days. I give them their independent work. Usually Mondays they get new vocabulary words, and then maybe they're doing some reading. Kids don't like to talk on Mondays. They're hateful. They don't want to be back at school. Okay, so I don't try to. So Mondays, you're on your own. By Fridays, they're like, don't teach me anything else. I'm done. I'm done listening. I'm done. I've spent all these days learning. So Fridays are makeup days and finish your work days. So Mondays, like I said, well, I'll give them some readings. They'll complete some work. They'll do their vocabulary. They can get help. Tuesday through Thursday, I teach. We read, we watch, we talk, we discuss, we do all those kind of things. Standard classroom activities. Fridays, independent work days. They finish the work and they turn it in. We do quizzes. I grade. I update gradebook. They like it when I update the gradebook. They want me to update the gradebook because they like having grades there. And if they have a 0, they can make it up on a Friday. Usually they can finish it. Okay. So Fridays and Mondays are productive. I just don't enforce my voice upon them. Pretty independent on those days. But I'm always around to help. I don't assign specific homework and assignments. I give them, I plan It's for us to have plenty of time to do all of our activities. If they're absent or they're not able to finish the work on the planned days that I have set up for us to do the work, then it turns into homework and they just need to turn it in by Friday. Usually we'll do something. I'll teach something on Tuesday. We'll do some work on Wednesday. We'll talk about it on Thursday, and then it's due on Friday. So they have the rest of Friday to kind of get it done. They might have finished it already on Wednesday. They might have finished it on Thursday. They might have decided to go to Weismans and do some of this work and finish it. Cool. And they turn it in on Friday. Independent novel stuff, actually, I might talk about that some other time. Grading policy, due dates refers to the last day. You might hear your kid say something like, oh, it's a soft due date, meaning the soft due dates are the last day that I'm giving you class time to work on it. After that, it turns into homework and you need to turn it in. Essentially, the students, if I will take work to the point that I'm grading it. Once I start to grade it and it isn't there, they get a 0, which is always days after it's officially due. Just know that. So if they get a 0 in the grade book, that means that they had plenty of time to have gotten that grade in. I gave them a due date, and then I didn't start grading until 4 days later, 5 days later. So if they got a 0, that means that they had 4 or 5 days after the due date to turn it in. So if they get a 0, they can always turn it in late, and the highest grade they can get is a 70. Which means that if a kid turns in every single assignment late, they'll at least pass the class. Okay. All right. I think, great, I'm done. This is my email address. Email me if you have any questions. Feel free. We'll chit chat. I have no problem. That's great. Okay. Done. Let's see. Oh, I'm done sharing. Okay. Oh, that's it. Let me know if you need any of your questions answered. I'm available. All righty. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. See you later.